Welcome to Low Key PD. In this video, I'm going to show you how to insert and format tables into Google Docs. So you've got your Google Doc, and under the Insert menu, you'll notice you have a bunch of different options. The second one is to insert a table. As you hover over the arrow, you get to choose the size of your table. I'm going to start with a 2x2. But if you need it bigger, just hover over, and however big you need it, that's what you can get. So I'm going to go by 2x1. Sorry for that. And notice I've got this little table-like structure here. And one of the things I can do with this is if I right-click or two-finger tap, I get this other menu that pops up, and I can do a bunch of different things. I can insert a row above this one. So if I have content in this row, it'll add the new row above it. I can insert a row below it, column to the left, column to the right. I can delete a column, delete the entire table, pin a header row. So if I have a row of data that I always want to appear at the top, I can do that. If I want to split a cell, I can do that. So let's say I want to split this cell into two additional columns. All right, now I have the width of that has stayed the same, but that cell on the left has now been divided up into two different columns. And then, let's say I want to split the middle cell into 3 rows. All right, and now I have this interesting little table that doesn't really look like a grid, but it does have this interesting structure to it, and I'm going to show you how you can take advantage of this structure. All right, so I'm going to undo what I just did, and I'm going back to my 2x1, and I'm going to insert an image into the left cell. All right, so I frequently will do this. It's a really great way to lay things out. I've got a graph here, and then if I'm writing a test or something, right, I can add questions here. So question about the image. And let's say I have a few questions I want to ask about this. All right, so I have this graph, and I want to ask a couple questions about this graph on a test. You might be thinking to yourself, well, that's fine, but I don't really like the black lines, the border for the table. Well, one of the things you can do with this is when you two-finger tap or right-click, if you go to Table Properties, all right, you can adjust the properties of the row. If you have a lot of data and it's not all the same size, you might want to have a minimum row height or allow it to fit to data. You can pin header rows, and you can do more than one row. For the columns, you can determine the column width if you want to adjust that so that it always stays the same width. Cell alignment, you can have all the text or whatever automatically aligned to the top, the middle, or the bottom. Right now it's set to the top. If I set it to the middle, notice all my text sort of evens out in the middle. If I set it to the bottom, it all gets pushed to the bottom. If my table doesn't take up the entire width of the doc, I can change the alignment to either left, middle, or center. I can change the indent of the table if I want. And then cell padding. Cell padding is a space that's automatically inserted into the cell. So if the cell padding is high, you'll have a very large amount of white space all around your data in that cell. So if I adjust this, watch what happens. Right? Basically what that is saying is it's going to insert that amount of space at the top of the cell, the bottom of the cell, and both sides of the cell, and nothing will be allowed to be in that space. Right? It's padding. So there's stuff there, like it's space, but nothing else can be nearby. Nothing can be over that space. Everything must fit inside whatever's left. But this is the one that's really nice if you use tables for layout. yeah, this table has black borders and I don't like it, but if I go to the table properties and I select color, I can just turn the border to be white, and now it just looks like I have a graph and some questions on a Google Doc, and when I print this, it will just look nice. I don't have to worry about text wrapping for images or anything like that. One of the really great things about tables in Google Docs is the ability to use tables to control the layout of different types of content in the doc. You can have text, images, all sorts of different things. If you have data, you can put data in the document, in a table. It just is a really great way to control the layout of a Google Doc if it has something that's not quite linear, if it's not meant to be read top to bottom, and things are out of place and they're tricky to align correctly. Using a table for that kind of design is actually a really good thing to do. It's actually how web pages used to be designed. Just make a table in the code, put everything in the cell you want it to, and then it had no choice but to appear where you want it. So tables are a really powerful device in Google Docs, much more powerful than just displaying data. They can be used for a host of different things, right? And that's how you can insert and format tables into a Google Doc.